Next to Luigi, Valve is the premier company in doing nothing and still winning. But how can that be? How is it that Valve can quote-unquote do nothing and still win and still be the dominant force in PC gaming? So I think it's time for us to talk about what made Valve so successful. What makes Valve different? What makes Steam so special that people won't buy games anywhere else on PC? And just how the heck did Valve get console exclusives on their platform? Ubisoft recently canceled their Tokyo Game Show showcase and also announced that Assassin's Creed Shadows would be delayed. But the most important announcement on top of that is that Assassin's Creed Shadow would be launching on day one, and Star Wars Outlaws would be coming to Steam sooner than expected. Some people have some misgivings about Assassin's Creed Shadows or Star Wars Outlaws, and I'm not here to talk about those today. I'm here to talk about Ubisoft and various other companies returning to Steam. Just about every major Western developer has left Steam only to then return, and even the likes of Blizzard, a company that's never been on Steam before, has brought their games to Steam. Isn't that crazy? One of their biggest releases, Diablo 4, is on Steam now, and all Valve had to do to maintain market dominance and keep market dominance is to make a great product. That's it. Some may say Valve is a monopoly because they're top dog, but Valve hasn't taken any steps to ensure that they remain top dog. How do they do it? What makes Steam such a compelling product? And most importantly, what keeps people on Steam instead of just going to Epic for their free games or whatever? I have a couple of main theories, but let's start with this one first. It's no secret that the big Western publishers, EA, Ubisoft, Activision, and even Bethesda at one point, tried to leave Steam to make their own launches. But failing to do so resulted in them ultimately returning. Yes, even Ubisoft as of recently. Money makes the world go round, and money makes these publishers come around as well. Steam has a massive, and I truly mean massive, user base. They recently just broke their own record of 38 million concurrent players, all online at the same time. Is that not crazy? 38 million people on Steam. That's about half of the population of most European countries. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And where there's players, there's money to be made. And let's look at Ubisoft, the latest example of companies coming back to Steam on day one. They've cited that their sales of Star Wars Outlaws were softer than expected. Keyword for it didn't sell very well. While console sales tend to be bigger than PC sales on average, the fact of the matter is that Ubisoft really handicapped themselves by not selling on Steam. At least not on day one. It'll release 3 months after its initial release on the Ubisoft store, but by then, people will have moved on to other games. And I'm sure Ubisoft realizes this too, because not only did they delay the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but they've also decided to put it on Steam day one when it releases finally. There are other factors as to why gamers might be boycotting Ubisoft titles, but I certainly believe that the biggest factor is that they're just not putting it on Steam, and players don't feel like going outside of Steam, especially when devices like the Steam Deck exist now. But on top of EA and Ubisoft and Activision's failed launches, we're starting to see console exclusives, games that would have been console exclusives, come to PC. The internet exploded when it was revealed that Halo the Master Chief Collection would come to Steam. The internet exploded as well when Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War, both PlayStation 4 exclusives, were coming to PC. It really did seem like PC was the best place to play all of your games. Like, if you're a patient gamer, then there was no real reason to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation anymore. Those games will just come to PC, on Steam as well. It's like everything's turned upside down. Console exclusives releasing on PC, companies returning from Steam after leaving to make their own money, and major AAA developers, especially in the West, their sales are declining to the point where they have to return to Steam, the service that they once scorned. A lot of it seems to be pointed towards everyone just all of a sudden failing for some reason. Xbox has been doing quite terribly since the Xbox One generation. And let's not forget about Concord, the game that Sony allegedly blew up to $400 million on. Allegedly. As stated before, I think the main catalyst for these companies going to Steam is that Steam has that large population. As a third-party developer, you'd be handicapping yourself by not releasing your game on Steam on day one. And a lot of the Western AAA developers that left Steam have suffered because of it. But these days, you're hearing more and more about Eastern developers succeeding. Like this year, Capcom's reached record-breaking profits, and they still have room to release more experimental titles, or titles that don't really draw on the audiences the same way something like Resident Evil or Monster Hunter would. And now you're hearing about major AAA successes from countries that aren't known for making AAA hits, like South Korea. You hear about games like Lies of P and Stellar Blade, and both are highly successful AAA games from Korea. And of course, China has Black Myth Wukong, their very first AAA success. And on top of these Eastern developers making successful AAA games, you also have a litany of indies that are making successes as well. Now, their expectations of sales are very different compared to your average AAA game, but the fact that they're considered successes as well is a great thing, especially since they know the scope of their game. So now let's talk about the other reasons why Valve is successful. Valve's myriad of features. Friends list, sales, the Steam Workshop for mods, user reviews, and quite a bit more. My favorite Steam feature, of course, are the Steam Next Fests. I guess it's not really a feature and more just an event that Valve holds, but essentially Steam Next Fests are celebrations of upcoming games. I've made a ton of videos about them and the demos that they tend to feature, and they're great for finding your new indie squeeze, or even just something you've never heard of. Honestly, I think this event is what caused demos to resurge. Demos were on the decline for quite a bit now, but I think thanks to the Steam Next Fest, I've found a bunch of new games that I've tried out and I want to play at launch. And conversely, I've also found games that seemed exciting at first, but when I tried the demo out, the game just didn't jive with me. So it's allowed me to spend my gaming money more efficiently. But features are at the core of why people prefer buying games on Steam. Yes, you could buy this game on Steam and also Epic, but if you buy it on Epic, you're basically screwing yourself out of a number of different features. At least when you're buying a game on GOG though, it's DRM free, and GOG explicitly advertises that you own these games. But at the end of the day, the main reason why people buy all of their games on Steam is that A, all of their games are on Steam, and B, Steam has a plethora of different features, and it's just more convenient to buy it from Steam. Now, is it fair that Steam has all of these nice features that all of these other storefronts don't have? Yes, it is fair, because the other storefronts could implement those features themselves. It's not like they can't do it, they just won't for whatever reason. And I think the last major reason why Steam is so popular and why people are so loyal to Steam is that Steam and Valve by extension are seen as the good guys of the gaming industry. While Valve does have their fair share of controversies, Valve is still seen as the good guy of the game industry, the closest thing to a true good guy the gaming industry does have. Like, Nintendo makes great games, and they focus on great games that are fun, but their business practice and their seemingly anti-game preservationist stance is abhorrent. Microsoft on the Xbox side of things are floundering, and they've failed to deliver on promises, and they've done the Xbox community quite dirty. And of course, let's talk about Sony. Sony has been releasing their games on PC, which is a great thing, but these newer releases are requiring PSN logins, and there are a bunch of countries that don't have access to PSN because Sony won't give them access, and as such, they can't buy games. Not to mention, these are single-player games. They really shouldn't require PSN. They should make that feature optional, in my opinion. So yes, there's very good reason to believe that Valve is still considered to be the big good in gaming, and they are very worried about Steam and Valve after Gabe Newell leaves. There's no telling what'll happen, but I have faith that Valve will be in good hands even after Gabe Newell leaves. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.